Shalrie, I know you kind of unofficially been on the first team coaching staff for the past year. You're obviously around this group, you're on the training ground all the time, but how does it feel to have made that move official and now have that title next to your name, Shalrie Joseph, assistant coach, New England Revolution?
It feels good. It's what I've been working for. Is the reason I wanted to come back to this place to work. It helped me pursue my dreams of becoming a professional soccer player. And once I realized what I wanted to do after my career was over, I wanted to be a part of this organization. And being here for the last year and a half, close to 2 years now, it feels great. And getting the title to my name, it's a title, but it shows all the hard work pays off, the early morning coming in here and then just being a part of the staff. Officially now, it feels really great. I think early when I was like 23, 24, rolling the clock back, I created my own academy and I had my own soccer club. So right then I knew after soccer I wanted to influence the game and that aspect of it. And then as the years goes by, I realized it more and more. Like I want to be a head coach at the highest possible level within America. And as I came back to this academy, as I came back to this organization, I wanted to be a part of the academy, and Kurt gave me the opportunity to be the U15 and then the U17, currently the U17 coach still. And now I'm getting to work with the first team guys, the first team staff, and the players, and it's a I tip my hat to the people in charge. They give me an opportunity, and now it's for me to seize and make sure I'm learning and developing well as a coach.
I mean, we talk about the player pathway, from academy to Revs 2 to the first team, and we think of that as the path players take. You almost took that pathway as a coach, right? You started with the academy, got some experience with the first team, and now move up to have that official title. So how beneficial was that for you to kind of come in with the academy, get some experience with the first team, and kind of move up the chain a little bit?
Yeah, it was very beneficial. Being a head coach at the academy, you get to make all kind of decisions. You can experiment, you can try different things. But when you come up here, it's all about what does Bruce need, what does the team needs, and being a part of that, it's an everyday evolving environment where you learn, you chip in, you give your opinion. But the most important thing for me is being able to absorb the information and the way Bruce is translating, the way he's talking to players. Not just him, but the way Richie and Dave and Kevin Hitchcock, even as a goalkeeper, having those guys to conversate and to bounce ideas off, it only helped me in the long run. And then when I go back to the academy in the afternoons, the same things I'm learning with the pros, I can translate that message onto those youngsters and making sure that they're ready to go and making sure that they understand what it takes to become a professional soccer player.
How much do you enjoy being a part of that particular group of coaches? There's a ton of coaching experience there, but it seems like it's also just a good group of guys to be around every day.
It's a great group of guys. It makes it fun coming into work every day. You can have the worst day or things are not going right, and from the time you get into the office, they just put everything in perspective and they make being a coach fun. Obviously, it's a lot of work, but the work is fun. So coming in there and having those conversations, whether it be about the smallest or the biggest things, it definitely lighten up my day, and I look forward to having few and a lot more conversation with them.
And you said you're learning every day. I mean, think of the coaching experience in that room. There's a lot of guys to learn from. With Bruce, who's obviously, the most successful coach in American soccer history, is there any sort of big overarching lesson that you feel like you've taken from him the first couple years of working with him, where you're like, okay, that's something that I can kind of take from Bruce in terms of what makes a good coach?
Yeah, there's a lot, obviously. I think every lesson, everything that he talks about, everything he tries to instill, not just in the players, but in the coach, I come in there with like a fresh new kid. So for me, I go in there and just willing to absorb. Anything for me is relatively new. Even though some of the things I know, I try to make sure I understand, like, even though I have an idea of what it is, but I make sure I listen, I learn, I make sure what the message he's saying, that I'm able to absorb it, but maybe sure I can relate it to the players. So for me, it's every day I'm learning something new from him. Every day I'm learning something from Richie. And then Dave, they probably think I'm the most curious person in the room, but that's the kind of environment I always wanted to be a part of. Environment where I can learn from people, not just players, and those environments is there daily. Those environments are there weekly, and in the game, when the games are meaningful, I look at Bruce and I see how he able to adjust within the system, within the players, whatever it is. Those are the days I look forward to. I think studying film, it's one of the things I never really did. Even as a player, I never really studied the opponent. And now that I've become a coach, I have to sit there with Dave and I study a lot of the opponents that we face. And then with Richie, he watches practice every day. After we done practice, that's probably one of the things he do after he eats. He goes and he watch practice and he literally dissect what was good, what was bad, and he tries to put all the details into perspective. And then for me, I sit next to these guys and then I try to pick their brain. So one of the things I really want to become better at is understanding film and studying film. And that would help me when I'm able to tactically approach our other team and how I want to break them down, how I want to attack them, how I want to defend them. And translate into the academy, which I'm still a part of. So that helps me in that way. When I look at academy soccer and I look at the other opponents, I'm able to break them down even more now because I have a better understanding of what it takes to play against teams. I work with the back four a lot. I think for my first couple of weeks here now, and the conversation with Bruce is making sure that the back four is in tune with what we have for them planned long term. So the back four would be my specific position, and then through that it goes through the midfield where I spend a lot of time with Richie, and then the forwards is Dave. He works a lot on the attacking sequence, so that's the time I spend with Dave too, trying to figure out how to get R9 into position, how to get Adam, now Josie, into a better position so he can score. So it's all different understanding in terms of the position, but it's a great opportunity for me to be around such great coaches. Oh, they are. There's no doubt about it. From top to bottom, even our best player in Carlos Gil, he's very coachable. The way you're able to talk to him, even though we still a little language of Spanish and English, just the little subtle messages you give your top player and you expect him to be a little resistant, but he's not. And for this group, the culture, Bruce has created a great culture where everyone is very competitive, it's challenging, and they're able to come in and talk about what they want, but most importantly, they're able to take on the information that the coaches give them, and they're very responsible. They hold each other accountable, and it's a very tight group, a very interesting group, but a very fun group. This club means everything for me, everything in my entire life right now. Fortunately, I have to say I having a child on the way, so that's very important to me, then my family and my friends, and the club is literally in line with my goals. I always knew I wanted to stay here after my playing career. I always knew I wanted to coach here, and to get the opportunity now, I'm just forever grateful for the opportunity to be a part of this organization and to continue living my dreams.